Hello, and welcome to the Biomass Magazine podcast. I'm your host, Anna Simet. We are here live at the International Biomass Conference and Expo in Atlanta. I'm here with Daniel Obarski from CV Technology. Daniel, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me on.
It's our pleasure. To begin, Daniel, how about you tell us about CV Technology and then what it is that you guys do there?
Sounds good. Yes, we are the manufacturer of fire protection and explosion protection equipment. We have a full line of products which we manufacture down in Jupiter, Florida, and we have coverage all over North America, Europe, and South America as well.
What industries do you guys work in?
We cover all industries, so first and foremost, the biomass industry is huge for us. Some other industries that are big for us would be food, so any bakeries, pet food as well, or any chemicals and plastics, those are all big for us, and recycling as well is another big part of us.
Okay. Daniel, in biomass facilities, what are the fire and explosion risks that you often see? And is there a difference between a fire and explosion risk?
Absolutely. So, in all these biomass facilities and throughout the process, there's a lot of we're handling a certain material, and in many cases, this wood pellet, the wood, raw wood, wood shavings, even or biochar, whatever it may be, is quite often flammable and even in most cases combustible for an explosion. So the main difference between a fire and explosion hazard is in a fire we have three ingredients. We have our oxygen, we have our fuel, and we have our ignition source. And frequently, if not always, we have our fuel being the material, the wood, the biochar, whatever material it may be, and we also have our oxygen. So what we're really only missing to start a fire would be our ignition source. And really that can come from anywhere. We have our hot work that we're working on, overheated equipment, even electrical sparks, or there's many opportunities. And in this case, if we have all three ingredients being the oxygen, the fuel, and the ignition source, you're able to start a fire. Now, when we're handling these combustible materials through pneumatic conveying, through conveyors, bucket elevators, whatever it may be, you're adding two more ingredients, and that is you have your confinement, and as well as you have your dispersion. So when those dust or material come up into a dust cloud, and then you add your ignition source, this is all ingredients for a true explosion. And what we do at CV Technology, and there's plenty of different options on how to protect these facilities, but there is in fact a difference between fire protection and explosion protection.
Very well explained. Thank you. So do all biomass facilities see the same kind of risks, and are some materials more dangerous or flammable than others?
Absolutely. So across the wide variety of different plants through wood pellets or biochar or black pellets or however you work in your process, a lot of these processes have very similar vessels that you're using. So your bucket elevators are very common, how they're being stored, whether it's U-spins or silos or there's many different options, but a lot of the times we do see pretty similar process and similar hazards. Now, the big difference from facility to facility is what dust you're using, what material. So whether it's wood or biochar, if it's super dry wood, if it's slightly moist wood, there's different material properties that come into play and really affect how a material is able to burn. So two of the biggest variables that we use to kind of classify how dangerous a dust can be would be our Pmax and our KST. The Pmax is relating to the maximum pressure a dust is able to build up and create, and the KST is the deflagration index, or quite frankly stating how quickly a dust can burn. Some other material properties are considered our minimum ignition energy, so how much energy do we need to ignite the dust, minimum explosive concentration, how much dust needs to be present in order to sustain the deflagration, etc. But dependent on what material we're handling, some are more risky than others.
Okay, so what are the first steps for those who are looking to really protect their plants?
Absolutely. Yeah, so first steps really is, in our eyes, is just to create awareness. A lot of people don't understand where the hazards exist, and just bringing awareness and understanding that even though there is no protection at the given time, there is still an inherent risk. So whether that's layers of dust or just housekeeping, we can always be more aware of our surroundings and what's going on in our facilities. The NFPA, or National Fire Protection Association, has a great standard, NFPA 660, which just came out in January. And that is really a great starting point. It runs through all the standards, all the recommendations, all the safeguards, etc. And one important part that they do mention in there is to get a DHA done, or a dust hazard analysis. So DHA is required by NFPA to be done every 5 years for any plant that's handling combustible dust or bulk goods, really. And getting a DHA done will first off tell you where these hazards lie and most frequently are occurring. In addition, it also mention which safeguards you have currently in place, and it'll really give you a clean layout throughout your entire plant of where the hazards are, where the safeguards are, and what needs to happen, as well as it'll give you some action items for the future.
So what do some common protection solutions look like, and what options do end users have?
Absolutely. In our industry, we deal with a lot of the same types of vessels. So between bucket elevators, dust collection systems, conveyors, silos, or really any sort of material transfer systems, you see a lot of events occurred in the past, and that's where we most frequently are looking to protect. In these protection systems, we really have two options. You can do passive, or you can do active. Passive is a type of equipment where, when installed, it doesn't require too much upkeep or maintenance. And really, once you install it and everything's done correctly and it's signed off that everything looks good, these passive equipment will function without having to be activated by an external source. So this can happen through explosion rupture panels, which are fairly common across the industry and are used on silos or outdoor use bins, or in many different scenarios. And then you have your isolation valves as well, which are equally important of the explosion venting. These passive isolation valves, typically a flap valve, can be used on dust collection lines and sorts. And then our other option would be to be active. So these active systems are usually run off of a detector that's detecting pressure inside of a vessel. Or you can use an optical detector, which runs off of optical light, seeing that from a spark or something of the sort. And in many cases, there's little give and take between the two options, but some things we consider are how much space do we have available within the plant? Is it a tight fit? Is the vessel inside or outside? Is it next to a walkway, or is it up on the roof? And there's many ways to go about it, but no matter what the process is, there is a solution. And just bringing awareness to explosion protection and fire protection as two separate but also equally important items are very important.
Really well said.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm at the end of my questions, Danielle. Is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap things up?
Not too much. I'll just say thank you so much for having me. This Biomass conference has been fantastic. And,
awesome.
And really, the more awareness we can bring to those around us and those working in these biomass facilities is just extremely important to make sure people are aware of the hazards that exist and the ways in which we can protect them.
Yeah, it is. Well, we sure appreciate you. And I hope we'll see you in Nashville next year.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Yeah, thank you so much. And to our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next time.